Man, I can't wait to play some Space Station 13. What the fuck?
Hey people, Zeph here.
What's good? My name is Bruce Rockwell and I'm a cargo technician. Don't worry, I won't just be pushing around boxes my whole shift since I'm also a traitor with a mission to assassinate a janitor and hijack the escape shuttle. Before I started on my objective, I went to an erotic roleplayer's paradise and locked myself in for some privacy. I reached into my pocket and whipped out my pistol. I also always made sure to have more than enough ammo for a session. However, I could not get anything done without my device that lets me see whatever I want. Then finally, at least 3 explosions to satisfy me. Now my plan could begin. The first thing I did was go to the head of personnel to get my job changed to a custodian. I would be closer to killing my target if I could just find the cleaning hole, aka the janitor's closet. I had no clue where it was, so I placed a sticky bomb on security's back door just to see where it'd get me in life. The terroristic act gave me a deadly opportunity that everybody knows about, like joining the military. So instead I went walking around and an energy gun fell right into my lap. First I just had to get the guy attached to the energy gun out of my lap. With a disarm, anything can be done. I then used my credit card lockpick to open up my favorite gun charging station. I began focusing on the task at hand again by asking the HOP where the room of upkeep was hidden. The target's base was located south of Botany and within the jungles of maintenance. The first step I took on the hunt was laying down a bear trap in front of the door. Not even more than a minute goes by of me hiding in a locker before I start seeing light through the wall somehow. I wondered if it was the person I needed to kill, and it turns out it was. I revealed myself to give my victim the blue and the red to turn them into a centrist. The final step in my hunting lesson was to trade places with your prey in order to wear life through their shoes. I walked away for just a few seconds, and when I came back the other janitor had showed up. So now I could remove hunting a gator off my redneck bucket list. After stunning the Disney motherfucker that can't wear shoes, I went loud and proud with my pistol. Gunshots, bullet casings, and 2 bodies were more than enough reason to blow up any evidence. Fuck, well of course I made it worse. I thought maybe if I just shut this door then everything would be all good, but deep down I knew this area was hot. There was no going back. I should have saved at least 1 bomb for the shuttle, but I went ahead and planted it anyways for a messier cover up than rolling around in dirt to try and hide the fact that you shit yourself. Well, someone found that dragon I slayed. There would be no cloning of my murder victims because I do not want to provide a prosecutor with the best witness since 24/7 body cam live streamers. I wanted the chef to make fried scales, however that person obsessed with this lizard's body prevented that from happening. Eventually I got my way and hid the body in plain sight like a serial killer burying their dead bodies directly in a graveyard. I went back to the crime scene and an engineer had already begun making repairs, but this did not stop me from getting that body. Then I was able to bring another corpse to the morgue with no questions asked because this is TG station. A short time later I saw a jock in armor picking on a nerd in a lab coat. So I said no to bullying by shooting at him. The fool shot back, but I remembered MF Doom's #1 rule, and that is to keep your phasers on stun. Well, the unprepared loser just had one of those new bitch beams known as disablers. Everything was good, plus I unlocked a helmet and armor from the trader marketplace most people refer to as looting. Then things took a colorful turn for the worse when some jackass melted crayons into the vent system. I was looking flavorful while charging my guns, and this brings out the worst in jealous people. The beef was quickly squashed though, like letting a 400-pound woman sit on your dick in order to end a rivalry. I then took a shot in the dark quality aim attempt at hijacking the emergency shuttle with nothing but my guns. I probably only had a 1% chance of successfully doing it, and the only scenario where I succeeded is if someone else blows up the shuttle. After my first feeble hijacking attempt, I was restrained until someone let me go. I went right back to blasting my gun off at random people, and then I was finally shot to death. Or so I thought. I woke up from a coma and immediately qualified to be a miner. My 2 crew members were a red-haired bitch and something I still don't get. One of them had a great idea to open an amusement park on Lava Land. A molted rock covered in lava with no oxygen sounded like the perfect location for a theme park. I mined a straight line until I hit a cave and discovered another attraction for our fun establishment. This Goliath needed to be captured and put in a zoo. Now whether or not it'll be a petting zoo is still up for debate. This was one tough customer. During the struggle with the beast, I lost my mighty gun and ran away. After stabbing it a bunch of times, I put it down because I figured it was not worth the lawsuit if this thing broke out of its cage and attacked people. Construction started on the Lava Land theme park, and the first things built were a Futurama 2 roller coaster and a walkway. I then built some walls and had plans to make a snack shop where I would sell lava in a mug and rock flavored ice cream. Of course I got distracted though when I found a temple dedicated to sissy butterflies. I had no other choice than to take the manly route. However, there would be no amusement park grand opening because a cult had moved into the mining station and decided to kidnap me. My captors teleported me elsewhere by using ancient chalk art drawn by slow children. I ran into someone else the cult had transported here and they freed my hands. Then someone ran up on us, so I pulled out my knife. I was stabbing this person because I thought it was the same cult doctor that sent me here. Instead, the cultist with a shotgun showed up to keep us in line. My line was well kept. I was going nowhere. Unless the cultist wanted me to go somewhere, then that is where I would go. That kind of positive attitude got me a spot on their roster. As a dude up to no good, I broke into a security outpost and charged a gun I found because that is what I always do as a bad fella. Unfortunately, I was tugged by the leash of the cult right before I grabbed my weapon. I wanted to do my own thing, which was to go back to charging. Then the emergency shuttle had left, but I decided to stay behind to beat up clone trading dummies so I can be stronger next time since our cult did not reach its summoning goal. At least the day was over, which meant anyone was up for grabs. I ended my shift with some stress relieving fun. Despite my failures, I received a job and a station transfer. I'm now the food and booze vendor for the Star Trek fanfiction that was either created with a marker and leftover xenophobe code, or this is a real spaceship depending on how well your roleplay squint and vision works. Buongiorno, partner. Ciao. Oh no. Buongiorno. Hell. Yes. Ciao! Now as the pointless yet convenient milkman, I stocked up on bottles of whiskey. Then I got to work. One of the most important duties of being a chef tender is bribing cops with ice cream like meth dealers. These fleshlights need to be tossed in the fryer because this deep fried chicken breast attached to a suitable donor was hoping for an extra crispy flap. I was tired of being told what to do, so I found this laser. Actually, hopefully a teleporter. However, a clown walked in and that made me know I should not trust anything about this place. Then I took a clothed shower like I was scared of my dick getting wet and shrinking. I also plan on flooding the ship for research purposes. My dreams of owning a water park would have to wait because my day job was here to stay. I then looked out a window that provided a view of the entire ship I was on. The ride itself was a hubcap with dual disc for engines, and outside of the ship was a backdrop that consisted of the sun with a fresh cut and the retarded bowling ball cousin of the moon in Majora's Mask. We got into a firefight and it was so intense that our circle was losing lines faster than unbiased script cuts. The puny enemy vessel was no match, but instead it was two sticks struggling to create a fire, which is why the ship was easily pushed into the stream of space with this waterfall that sort of did but sort of didn't flow out of our ship. I went back to my mundane third-person perspective. My dreams of being the Star Trek ship were no more since I was transported back into my normal beady-eyed cafeteria worker body. Later on, I had made a grilled cockroach as well as a full-body band-aid for the crew's lunch. Then the clown started walking towards me, and that is never a good thing. He went for a litter attack to try and bring me down, but the clown wound up making himself fall, like a dictator creating a Discord server about revolution as a joke. But instead of shitposting, people take him seriously. This prankster would not stop throwing monkey condoms at me. We then played a game of harm, grab, disarm. I chose harm and the clown picked disarm, which almost always guarantees you the win. In the next round, my opponent used glass table slam, a move banned in all professional fighting leagues. The match ended by disqualification. There was no stopping the fighting though, even after the bell, except for a truce. Peace was decided over a verbal typed out contract, the first of its kind. During the time of red lighting, I suffered from the funk. Gases were being emitted out of my body and the smell let people know that I was a pussy that surrendered to a clown. The hottest and drunkest of showers would not even be enough to remove the physical and mental stink from my body. So I went back to spectating myself as a ship that I don't control, and our frisbee with a spoiler was being attacked by a two-legged frog. Then the two sworn enemies fought in a twitchy manner like a guy having a seizure fighting a guy having Tourette's. Later on, the two worn-out fighters cuddled it out next to the border of really dark space. Eventually, the little bitch Spoon vanished, leaving us alone. I could now get back on with my life. The first thing I did was slip past the security door right before it was about to close. Once inside, I began chugging some whiskey, and naturally the empty bottles needed to be disposed of, so I threw them. Nonetheless, my decision got me stunned and arrested. I was sentenced to community service that had to be served on TG station. My duty was to work in the chapel, and I was also ordered to change my hair and beard game back. My new look gave me lumberjack and craftsman powers. I felt powerful until I saw a barbarian swinging a toy sword like a newly conformed cuck watching his wife get banged by a woman with a strap on. I then tried to wrestle the plastic scare tactic away from Billy Mays, but in the end I was unsuccessful. The next thing I did was beg the gods for forgiveness for my sort of erotic sins. Bring women to the chapel so I could attract good, hard-working Bible men here. My prayer was answered because I had a blue-haired church girl flashing me not long after I gave the main G the call. The bright light I saw made me switch sides like staring into the sun long enough till you realize you need to overthrow the government. This meant I was now part of a workplace rebel faction and our only desire was to kill our bosses, and maybe a random person along the way. So I asked God's children, who wants to drink some holy water? Me. I took the would-be Jesus juice drinker back to my office and chased him around as images of my overpowered murdering tool of an arm did damage to him until his head popped off because the picture of the chainsaw triggered something from his childhood. I then melted the headless corpse so I could spread his ashes on a nice bowl of dry brown rice. Next I went for a jog around the station and it was still in decent condition so far. During my search for things to revolutionize, that motherfucker from earlier popped out of a potted plant strapped with a phony arm blade. We both shook hands in agreement to fuck off. Then one of my new supervisors with Hulk power started beating up the head of security, so I had to jump in like the Thanos vs Ant-Man memes. I was able to grab a stun baton, but the HOS hit me with a deal so shocking I can just forget about walking. As I was being dragged into the brig, one of my political allies could have saved me. However, the coward would rather hide in the sheep farm instead of fighting a shepherd alongside a wolf. I didn't serve no jail time, nor was I executed. It was even worse. They implanted me with a microchip to make me a patriotic, dictator-loving nationalist. Now, I could not stand the sight of one of my homeland's goats being slaughtered so brutally. I tried to intervene, instead I was shut down. I then attempted to go to war with the holy mammal killer, but he stopped my animal rights military campaign right after the very first strike. My death was caused by being tapped too many times with a stick, like kids finding a passed out drunk and thinking that person is a dead body. Everyone should know you can't kill me. I will only temporarily die and then come back as a gardener. Any smart botanist begins their shift by running to the chemist and begging for as much mutagen as you can get your garden glove covered hands on. My growing operation had a humble beginning. Though it was a step above a weed plant in the closet, all I had was bananas, wood, and that amber up in my hydroponic trays. I let my space station marijuana sip on that muta until it changed colors, making it hopefully more potent. This inspired me to drink some of that miracle Gatorade myself. Shit, who would have thought something good for plants would be bad for people? I continued to drink as I threw up like someone who does not know their limits. Instead of becoming a super mutant as I intended to, I got appendicitis. After stabbing me a few times with a scalpel, a surgeon successfully removed my appendix. I could have kept it as a souvenir, but I wanted to eat that cocksucker instead to show that I have power over it. I came back from surgery and that other botanist let our department go to hell by letting our crops and flora cross-contaminate with one another. Then botany lost air due to a bomb, and I just knew I could not work under these conditions. So I drank more mutagen until my hair changed colors and I went blind. I grabbed a few joints and ditched the 9 to 5 like an aspiring artist. During my blind sabbatical, I started swinging my hatchet around at those no-good able-sight people. Everything that I was doing was purely an accident since I had handicapped vision. A doctor tried to have me arrested, but I explained my blind defense and they understood my pain since they could obviously see it better than I can. Then the doctor took me back to medbay and attempted to repair my sight with chemicals. Next he tried surgery. Lastly he gave up and just left me on the floor. I don't know much about this medical practice, but it does not seem to be working. Who am I kidding? What do I know? I'm blind, so I gave up too. I was now going to see the other side of the narcotics empire as a chemist. A chemist must always keep some Axe body spray bombs in his pocket so he can eliminate foes by using a pungent smell that either kills you or seduces you in a lady killer fashion. Then the captain was being a lazy fat ass that wanted room service, giving me a possible opportunity for mischief or destruction. I dropped off the captain some eggs and a burger without any complications. Nothing happened. I did say possible opportunity, not that I was going to poison his food or anything. Well, I did try to steal his fox, but the captain's elevator door defense system saved his pet. On my way back to the chem lab, I found a brain-dead specimen that I tied to a chair for no other reason than I was bored. I'm not even going to try and lie to you. Then some action came my way when a botanist walked in and tried to take my chem dispenser. This son of a bitch wanted a lifetime supply of mutagen, like some kind of evil villain trying to build a plant mutant army. After beating up the intruder, I restrained the bad guy to prevent any more space domination schemes. I ended up just showing him a good time if he was into getting the shit kicked out of him. I let the sucker go though because life is precious. My break was over and it was back to work for me. I spent my time studying the effects smoke has on your vision. The fooling around was over. I actually started working by trying to get rid of this hologram wet floor sign, and in the process of doing so, someone pushed my fist into someone else's face, which knocked them down. More importantly though, I got rid of that sign, but then started experimenting with my little bombs and maintenance behind chemistry. While doing this, I accidentally destroyed some of the chief medical officer's office wall. This was no big deal. It was basically the same thing as blowing up part of your neighbor's house when practicing grenade throwing in your backyard. I thought I dropped a napalm bomb, but it turned out to be a dud, like thinking your mixtape is hot until you realize it's just 10 hours of you listing off the first names that you know over a 5-second trap beat loop. Since it was not working, I figured it was safe to try it out right in the lab. Of course I produced another water balloon though, at least this one caught me on fire. Another raider rushed my department and threw a grenade down, probably because they saw me do it and thought it was cool to do now. Luckily, his chemicals did nothing like a snake oil salesman, but I still had to click him with that harm intent. I was still trying to punch this guy out of my lab when I froze and crashed harder than if cops could just suddenly appear in your backseat with their guns drawn to arrest you for speeding. When the connection in my brain started working again, the first thing I saw was my chemistry partner getting wrecked. We had a real bad violent drug addiction problem on this station, so I decided to get involved by raising my fist when someone asked me for drugs. This aggressive high seeker held his own for a while against the two of us, but eventually we beat him until he crawled away. I started messing with my boss for a few reasons. It's funny, I'm always feeling rebellious, and I prefer my cats and people to not be fused into fetishized hybrids. Now I needed to make prey concoctions, but both of the chem dispensers were out of energy due to reasons unrelated to anything I have done. After a while, I was able to make things that wasted my time like every fertile person to ever exist. Since that failed, I went with plan B and stole the beloved medbay mascot. I killed the cat, stuffed it in a locker, and brought it right to the CMO. Then finally, I threw a bomb that removed one tile from the CMO's office so that he could go space fishing. I took an intermission and found myself some bananas on the floor. I was not worried about the fruit being dirty due to a banana's protective shell known as a pill. But there was definitely something greasy in them because it made me overly exaggerated movie high. That meant botany did manage to steal some of my chemicals. Damn dope heads. A banana shield from bruising also makes the perfect slipping device as learned from our great ancestors of comedy, and the CMO had plenty of rolling on the floor laughing moments. I then found a not so black card, but there was no limit to the number of doors I could open with it. Instead I went back to slipping deeper into the debt of anger I was building with the CMO. However, it was time to pay up, because the cat bastard hit me with a syringe of some shit that was either gonna knock me out or kill me. I passed out in the hallway, so I was pretty much already dead. Dr. Copper over here brought me to security, and they found my secondhand traitor gear. This meant I would be executed, and the warden chose to kill me with a shotgun as other members of security, a lawyer, and a monkey watched my demise go down.
Now here is something of interest to everyone. Scientists report that scientists are testing monkeys to see if the monkeys would make a good scientist. This would save money because the monkey scientists could perform the experiments on themselves.
Well, it's about time.
However, it's not all good news. Some scientists are going to be out of a job. Unless, of course, they happen to be monkeys.
Monkeys? Monkeys! Oh boy, monkeys!
Brack, there's nothing funny about saying the word monkey.
Oh, well, I guess you just had to be there.
I suppose so.